Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. So now in this video we are discussing the poem O Captain, My Captain, written by the English poet Walt Whitman. In this poem, the captain symbolizes the American president Abraham Lincoln and the ship represents the America. The poem O Captain, My Captain, written by a great American poet Walt Whitman in 1865. The poem consists of 3 stanzas and each stanza have 2 quatrains, means each stanza consists of 8 lines. Besides, this poem is an elegy. Apart from that, Whitman used the free verse form while writing this poem. For this reason, the lines of the poem do not have rhyme at all. The poem O Captain, My Captain was a part of his famous collection of the poem Leaves of Grass. It is a symbolic poem in which captain refers to Abraham Lincoln and the ship refers to the United States of America. The poem describes the victory of the Union after the end of the Civil War and also the association of Abraham Lincoln. In the first stanza, the poet said, O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every wreck. The prize we sought is won. The port is near. The bells I hear. The people are all exulting, while follow eyes, the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh hurt, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. Here, in the first stanza, the poet calls upon the captain of the ship that fearful trip has come to an end. The ship has survived every storm, and we have won the prize we have been fighting for. Poet tells the captain that port is very near, and now he can hear the sound of the temple bells and cries of the enthusiastic people who are eagerly waiting for him. The enthusiasm increases as the ship reaches near the port. Keel has been thrown off the ship so as to keep the ship stable. In the next lines, this enthusiasm is replaced by gloom. The captain is dead now, and the blood is coming from his body. This makes the poet exclaim, Oh hurt, hurt, hurt. The captain, who was supposed to be praised by the people for his peerless bravery, is now lifeless and motionless. In the second stanza, the poet said, O Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung. For you the bugle trills. For you bouquets and ribbons rats. For you the shores are crowding. For you they call. The swaying mass, their eager face turning, Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream dead on the deck. You have fallen cold and dead. Here, in the second stanza, the poet Walt Whitman tries to talk to the captain, who he knows well is dead now. This technique of talking to the dead is called apostrophe. The poet asks the captain to rise up. As for him, bells are being rung, flags are being hoisted, musical instruments are being rung, flowers are being curled. The pupils are eagerly waiting for his arrival. But he is dead now. It should be noted that the captain is dead now, and hence the ceremonies are of his funeral. The poet goes in remains and tries to consider this death to be a fancy, but at last he has to believe that captain is dead. Poet calls him father because for him Lincoln is not just a military leader but the father of the nation and laments over his loss. In the third stanza, the poet said, My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object won. Exalt, O swords, and ring, O bells. But I with mournful tread walk the deck, my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. Here, in the third stanza, The poet said, we find the duality of emotions. The poet Walt Whitman experiences the euphoria of the victory but at the same time laments over the death of Lincoln, which is a big loss for the nation. The poet says that now the captain is dead. His lips are pale yellow. He can neither feel the arms of the poet nor his heart is beating. It is such a time when the ship has arrived at its destination. The fearful trip and horrors of civil war is over now, and there is relief among the people. People are enjoying, but the poet is mourning over the death. Poet moving around this place laments over his death. Hence the poem ends with both victories as well as loss. Now, we can say that throughout this poem, poet dramatizes the painful close relationship between loss and victory. The celebration of the Union triumph is reframed by the reminder that the country has paid a dear price. Whitman seems to argue that loss and victory are closely linked all wartime setting, where victory always requires the expenditure of human life. So that's all for this video. See you in the next video. Till then, tata, bye bye.